Hey everyone, are you ready to explore some uncharted territory? We are diving into the world of SAP Fiori.
Uncharted, more like about to become very familiar. Everyone's talking about Fiori because it's the key to really getting the most out of SAP S/4HANA.
It's true, Fiori has become a game changer. But why? We're going to find out. Our sources today are a collection of expert opinions and technical deep dives all about this exciting piece of software.
Exactly, and I am ready to help us unpack all of it.
Perfect, let's jump right in. So, to kick things off, it seems like everyone agrees. Those old SAP ERP screens, let's just say they weren't winning any design awards, right?
Yeah, it's no secret that SAP's user interface had a reputation, and not in a good way.
They were about as clunky as, I don't know, trying to use a typewriter in the age of touchscreens.
I like that analogy, and that's exactly the problem Fiori set out to solve.
So it wasn't just about making things prettier, right? It was a total overhaul.
Absolutely. It's a whole new design philosophy for SAP, where the user's at the forefront.
User-centric design, I love to hear it. But how does that actually play out in Fiori?
Well, there are three core principles. Simplicity.
Okay, less is more. I can get behind that.
Second, Fiori is role-based. So the information you see is tailored to your specific job.
No more sifting through mountains of irrelevant data. That's a win in my book.
Exactly. And finally, Fiori is all about being adaptable. You can access it on your laptop, your tablet, even your phone.
So I can approve those expense reports from anywhere, even stuck in traffic.
Exactly. It's all about making you more efficient and productive no matter where you are.
Music to my ears. Now, there's another interesting aspect to this. Fiori emerged just as in-memory computing and cloud applications were taking off all those technologies that make SAP S/4HANA so powerful. Was that a coincidence?
Not at all. It's like Fiori was built hand in hand with those technologies, specifically to unlock their full potential.
So Fiori isn't just a shiny new facade. It's fundamentally intertwined with the power of S/4HANA.
Exactly. It's about creating a seamless, integrated experience that leverages the full capabilities of the underlying technology.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Now, the materials we have keep mentioning these 5 tenets of Fiori: role-based, adaptive, coherent, simple, delightful. That sounds great on paper, but is it just marketing hype?
Not at all. These tenets are actually the foundation of Fiori's design philosophy. They're like the guiding principles behind every decision made about the user interface.
Okay, so they're more than just buzzwords. Give me a real-world example. How do these tenets translate into an actual Fiori app?
Sure. Let's take the Approvals app as an example. Imagine you're a manager on the go, and you need to approve a bunch of purchase orders. In the past, this might have meant lugging your laptop around or struggling with a clunky interface on your phone.
Been there. Not fun.
With Fiori's Approvals app, you can do it all from your phone with ease. You open the app, and you get a clear, concise list of all the pending requests. You tap on one, review the key details, and then approve or reject it all in a matter of seconds.
Wow, talk about streamlining a process. That's impressive, and it plays right into those tenets we talked about. It's simple, it's adapted for mobile, and it's tailored to a specific role, a manager who needs to approve things quickly.
You got it. And because Fiori is designed with that real-time data access in mind, you can be confident that you're making decisions based on the most up-to-date information, even when you're not at your desk.
Okay, I'm sold on the Approvals app. Now, let's talk about Fiori apps in general. We know it's not just one app, right? There's a whole ecosystem of Fiori apps. So what are the different types of apps you might come across in the Fiori universe?
You're right, there are actually 3 main flavors of Fiori apps. We have transactional apps, we've got SAP Smart Business Analytical apps, and then fact sheet apps. Each one has its own unique purpose and functionality.
Okay, break it down for me. What's the difference between those 3?
So let's start with transactional apps. These are the workhorses of the Fiori world.
The ones that keep the lights on.
Precisely. These apps let you perform specific tasks, creating purchase orders, approving invoices, updating customer records. They digitize those essential business processes.
They're the engines that keep things moving.
Exactly. Then we have analytical apps. They're all about data visualization and insights.
So think dashboards, reports, charts, anything that helps us make sense of all that data.
You got it. Analytical apps provide those real-time insights into how the business is performing.
No more waiting for IT to generate these reports. We can access them on demand. I like it.
And last but not least, we have the fact sheet apps. These are your go-to for a quick overview of a particular business object.
Business object meaning. Give me an example.
Sure. Say you need to get up to speed on a specific customer before a meeting. You pull up the fact sheet app and gives you a snapshot of all the key information, their contact details, their order history, any upstanding invoices. It's like a quick reference guide all in one place.
Like a cheat sheet for understanding your business data, that's really helpful. So whether I need to get something done, understand how we're performing, or just quickly look up some information, Fiori has an app for that.
Exactly. And here's an interesting tidbit. While those analytical and fact sheet apps rely on SAP HANA, those transactional apps, they can actually connect to other databases too.
So even if a company isn't ready to go all in on S/4HANA just yet, they can still dip their toes into the Fiori waters.
Exactly. It's about providing that flexibility and allowing companies to adopt Fiori at a pace that makes sense for them.
I like it. So Fiori can be that bridge to the future, gradually easing companies into the S/4HANA world. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about navigation. We can't have a conversation about user interface without addressing how you actually find your way around. And in the world of Fiori, that means talking about the Fiori Launchpad. Is it as cool as it sounds? Okay, so the Fiori Launchpad, it's the heart of the whole Fiori experience, right?
Absolutely. Think of it like your central hub.
Your home base.
Yeah, exactly. It's where you access everything, all your apps, notifications, even your recent activity, all in one place.
So no more jumping between different systems or struggling to find that one transaction buried in a menu somewhere.
Exactly. And to make it even easier, everything's organized into these nice, visually appealing tiles.
Tiles, like on my smartphone home screen.
Yep, exactly like that. Each tile represents a different app or function. And some tiles even have those mini live charts or graphs embedded right in them.
So you can get a quick snapshot of what's going on without even opening the app. I like it.
Exactly. It's all about making the experience more visual and intuitive. And of course, if you can't find what you're looking for at a glance, there's a handy search bar right there at the top.
Love a good search bar. So I'm guessing this Launchpad thing adapts to whatever device you're using, because we've talked about how Fiori's designed to work seamlessly on laptops, tablets, phones, you name it.
Absolutely. The Launchpad will look and feel familiar whether you're on your desktop or on the go with your phone.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those hardcore SAP GUI users out there, the ones who are used to that classic interface?
A good question. Well, Fiori doesn't completely replace everything. You can actually access other SAP UIs right from the Launchpad.
Oh, really? So it's more like Fiori brings everything together in a more user-friendly way.
Exactly. It's not about abandoning the old ways. It's about integrating them into this more modern, intuitive experience.
I like that. So how does that actually work? I mean, how does Fiori talk to those other SAP systems? There must be some magic happening behind the scenes.
Well, there's a key component called the SAP Gateway. You can think of it like a translator or a bridge between the Fiori front end and your back end systems like SAP ERP or S/4HANA.
So it's like the Rosetta Stone of SAP communication.
I like that. Yeah, it handles all the technical communication and data exchange using things like OData and REST APIs. But those are just fancy terms for how different software systems talk to each other.
So we don't need to get into the weeds on that. The key is the gateway allows Fiori to interact with those backend systems, whether it's pulling in data or triggering transactions.
Precisely. And this gateway can be set up in a couple of different ways, either as a central hub or embedded directly within the backend system.
And the choice depends on?
Well, it depends on factors like the size of the company, how many transactions they're processing, that sort of thing.
So kind of like deciding whether to have one big central mailroom or smaller mailrooms in each department. It depends on your needs and structure.
Exactly. Now, for those who are all about speed and efficiency, especially on their desktops, there's another way to experience Fiori. It's called the SAP Business Client.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. Tell me more about this business client.
It's like a dedicated workspace just for your SAP tasks. It's designed to be super fast and efficient, especially for those critical transactions that you use day in and day out.
So instead of having my browser bogged down with a million tabs, I can have this dedicated space for SAP that's optimized for performance.
Exactly. And here's a fun fact for you. There are plans to eventually integrate the classic SAP GUI directly into the business client.
So those die-hard SAP GUI fans, they can still have their familiar interface, but within this more modern business client environment.
Precisely. They are initially planning it with the classic SAP GUI design, so we'll be instantly familiar, with the sleeker Fiori theme coming in later releases.
I love that SAP is giving users options. Okay, next question. Let's talk personalization. Can I tweak the Fiori interface, make it my own, give me themes, layouts, all the good stuff?
So we've talked about how Fiori makes SAP easier and more enjoyable to use. But, it occurs to me that this is more than just a technology upgrade, isn't it? I mean, this feels like a real shift in how people work with SAP.
Oh, absolutely. It has the potential to really change the entire dynamic between business users and IT departments.
So no more frantic calls to the help desk because someone can't figure out how to reset their password. Let's hope those days are over. With Fiori being as user-friendly as it is, people can do more themselves, and that frees up IT to focus on, well, other things.
Instead of just keeping the lights on, they can focus on strategy and innovation, right?
Exactly. And that makes me wonder, how will this affect the demand for different IT skills?
What do you mean?
Well, as Fiori becomes more common, will we start seeing less of a need for those who know the really technical ins and outs of these systems?
And more of a need for those who can design those great user experiences, those Fiori Sherpas you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. It's a good question, and one that wasn't really addressed in the materials we've looked at. How will this shift toward user-friendly interfaces change the types of IT roles that companies need? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. And that brings us to the end of our Fiori deep dive. Any final thoughts?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that enterprise software doesn't have to be clunky or intimidating. Fiori proves that it can actually be a joy to use.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about working smarter, not harder. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of SAP Fiori, a truly game-changing technology.
My pleasure.